Yay! So, back at it again. Yeah. Alright, oh yeah, you can see it. Okay, so I got a new thing for my room. Yay! It's the, American Sign Language alphabet, which is pretty cool. Make it look all artsy like that. And my roommate got it for me, so thanks. Thanks for me. Alright, so admittedly, in full honesty, this topic is a little niche. And by little niche, I mean a lot niche. At least, because you see, I have a bunch of friends on Discord who we are all huge fans of classic rock. And one of those bands, the ones that we're all like, the ones that we all like are really obsessed with, one of those bands is the Monkees. And they had a TV show, they made a lot of great music, and they made a movie. Unlike the Beatles films like A Hard Day's Night and Help, which were decently successful, this movie's kind of a flop. And by kind of, I mean a lot of a flop. But it's a genuinely good movie, and it has a lot of great symbolism in it, and I just think the world needs to know about it more. So, quick history lesson. Who are the Monkees? So the Monkees in their original lineup consisted of, because two of them are no longer with us, may they rest in peace, consisted of Davy Jones, Peter Tork, Mike Nesmith, and Mickey Dolenz. And the Monkees themselves were a made-for-TV band with the show they called the Monkees, based off of the Beatles' A Hard Day's Night. And if you've never seen A Hard Day's Night, it's basically like the Beatles are trying to like go about their business and get to gigs and things like that, but they run into crazy fans and just troubles in their like personal circle and overcoming that, and it's kind of like that, but they always end up meeting where they need to be and things like that, and the Monkees are kind of like based off that. They are trying to make rent money by doing gigs and by doing odd jobs, things like that. And by odd jobs, I don't mean like helping around the house. I mean like odd jobs, that kind of thing. So, and the show did pretty well. It has 50 thereabouts episodes, 2 seasons, and it's really good TV. Kind of cheesy 60s humor, but I grew up with older TV anyway because I was homeschooled and that's what we watched. So it's kind of on my alley anyway. Yeah, so Head flopped. It's probably still one of the biggest flops. I don't know if it is the biggest ever. I don't think it is. But the budget for the movie was $750,000. That's a decent amount, for like the time. Obviously today that you can't make a movie for that. With even you can't make TV for that. Even The Mandalorian, the Baby Yoda puppet, was $5 million. Okay, so $750,000. Not a lot in today's money for a movie anyway, but it wasn't like anything to sneeze at. The box office, I don't know if this is just US numbers or if this is around the world, because this it's worldwide at least, was $16,000. That is not even, I can't do math, but that's not even a third of that budget. That is a massive flop. Okay. And just to compare it, Help, the Beatles movie, made about $12 million at the box office. Which still, today, that's probably not, the best. But that was really good for the time. That is Head is a flop. Then and now, it's oof. And part of the reasoning, at least, I think, my interpretation of it, the marketing. The marketing made this movie so what? They made it like you have to see it to believe. And then originally, I think that's what I hear, the trailers didn't mention the monkeys at all because they wanted to do something so different, so out of left field. So out of left field, we're not even on a baseball field anymore. Okay, we're on a basketball court. Okay, we are not in the park. Okay, and while that's understandable, I think Mickey Dolenz said in an interview, and I'll try to link it down below if I remember to. Like an hour-long Monkeys episode would have been way more successful. And he's right, but there is an article that I will link down below of one of them saying our fans couldn't even go see the movie. And because their fans were a bit younger, which there's nothing wrong with that. No shade. The movie was, okay, the GPG system started in 1968 because 1968 was the end of the Hays Code. And the Hays Code, if you don't know what that is, I'll link a thing about that down below too. It's basically this code of how movies and TV should be made. And it's like nothing fun allowed. It was very, very, very strict. High key censorship. Really, really bad. And I'm pro First Amendment. Say what you want. Kind of thing, you know? So it's like they got rid of that, which was, pretty oppressive, and replaced it with a voluntary system. By the way, PG-13 didn't get added till the 80s. So it's rated G. But on the, I have the poster for Head as my home screen on my phone. If I turn down this, can you, see it at all? Oh, yeah, you can. Okay, so that's the poster. And I don't know if you can see it, but there, it says, not suitable for children. There. So they were warning you, this is not a typical Monkeys project, or what they had done up until that point. So taking away that what they were trying to do with this movie was kill that image of the typical teen, early 20-something, good boy, all-American kind of thing, like the cheesy pop star kind of thing. They were done with it. Because at this point, I think they were all still, in their 20s. But they were still, a bit older. They wanted to move on and do different things, which I have nothing but respect for. I understand. Yeah, that's a short amount of time, because they shot the pilot for the Monkeys in 1965. And then the film Head came out in 1968. Probably would have been filming it in 1967. So that's not a lot of time. But it's also, a lot of growth in that time. I know, speaking for myself here, at 18, I was stupid. Now at 20, I feel like I'm more mature now than I was even 2 years ago. So I understand. Okay. Anyway, so I have a synopsis up to keep me on track. Alright. It's my chapstick. So the Head movie, this whole movie begins at a opening ceremony, or a little ceremony to dedicate this bridge to Wikipedia says the Gerald is the Witcher, Desmond Bridge, and the politician himself is struggling with the mic, whatever, or someone's got to help him. They finally get it all running, and he's gonna declare the bridge open. They got the big scissors and the ribbon kind of thing, I've never actually seen one of those in real life. Do those actually exist? Anyway, before they can cut it and declare this bridge open, blah blah blah, the monkeys run through it. And they're very clearly being chased by something. They're running. And Mickey is the first one to, take off his jacket, look down, over the bridge, and jump off. They jump off, and that's when Porpoise song starts, and I love that song. This soundtrack to this movie is so, so good. 10 out of 10. Highly recommend. And like I'm someone, okay, I'm a Star Wars fan. I love my movie soundtracks, my instrumentals. This soundtrack is absolutely fantastic. I highly recommend. And then they jump in, and these mermaids save them. I guess that's a pretty cool scene. Like porpoise songs playing. Seizure warning if you watch these movies, by the way, because it's kind of colors are very psychedelic, and like they were on the stuff that makes you see things. How they came up with the idea for this, the ideas of the things that go into this movie. The monkeys and Jack Nicholson and some of the writer-y people. In a hotel room, and they took the stuff that makes you see things, the stuff that makes you have trips and stuff, and spoke it into tape recorders. I don't think there's any of the audio online. I shall investigate this, but I don't think there's any online. At least not at this point in time. I'm filming this. Maybe one day there will be. I think those could be quite funny. Yeah, and there's actually... So you're thinking, like, well, if the monkeys contributed, shouldn't they be credited as writers? You would think that, but they are not. And when Mike found out about it, he was rightfully, like, mad. I would be, too. It's like, I contributed just as much, even if, we were on the stuff that makes you, It's like, I also contributed to this. Like, why can't I be credited as a writer or whatever? Mike took the tapes. I don't know how he got hold of them. It's like, why would you leave them just out anyway? And held them hostage for I don't know how long, but they were able to get Jack Nicholson to like calm him down, and they got the tapes back, they got their script out, and then once the movie came out, they were not credited as writers. So I'm like, you bold-faced lied to him like that. That's so gross and like slimy, and like I know that's Hollywood and that's how things are, but like, ew. Anyway, the next scene goes on, and what happens? Monkeys are in their apartment, in their pad, I guess, kind of. And a woman who is not given a name in the movie, but in the credits, she's credited as Lady Pleasure, which makes me cringe just a little bit, but anyway. And she goes up to each individual monkey and kisses them, and these are like decent kisses, okay? My experience with kissing is not that, I've not had that many, but like, I know a good kiss when I see one, okay? So they go, and then Mike asks her, well, and she's like, it's even, and I'm like, so she's just there to say who's the best, so she says it's about even, so I guess that's information for you. But I think that's part of like the breaking away from the good boy and the, oh, so-and-so would never do this, blah, 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 stereotype kind of thing, and the preconceived notions they had about them being, I don't know the word for this, but like being like straight-laced like that, out the window. All right. And then the opening like concert sequence thing kind of starts. On the soundtrack, I think it's called the Diddy Diego War Chant, which that monologue is really good, and you should probably just listen to it. I can't really do it justice. It's basically like, we're aware we're a manufactured image and we're about to destroy this, we're about to give you all these things, blah, blah, blah. You know, it's very self-aware in that regard. And at the end of that, they show the footage of this execution of, okay, the guy's name is spelled Nguyen, Van Lim. It's that his execution. I cannot say that name, and I'm so sorry. So I'm not even going to attempt. I'm a linguistics major. I just study languages. That doesn't mean I can say them well. Anyway. So it shows that footage, and it's black and white, and it's obviously not the best quality, but you hear the shot, and you can very clearly tell what's happened. And then it cuts to a scream, And now you would think, well, yeah, if you saw someone get shot in front of you, you'd scream. But no, it's a woman screaming in like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited because it's switched to the concert sequence, which is also overladen with footage of war-torn places and things like that, war-torn people, all that, which like Vietnam, and then just crappy situations in general, and it's kind of overladen with that, and like that's a really cool symbolic point. The song that plays, Circle Sky, I love this song. I cannot tell you how much this is like one of my favorite songs, like just of all time. I love this song, and the live version I think is better than the studio version. I mean, like, I like the studio version, but there's something about the live version. Everyone sounds perfect. The music sounds perfect. Okay, I need to move on from Circle Sky. And then, like, right before that, they're able to, like, get a crowd to cheer for war. Because that's what America does. We think war is this game that we can cheer for, and it's not. And it's like, it's a good message. A lot of the symbolism is like really anti-war sentiments, which were not very popular at the time. This was before the Kent State situation. And if you don't know about that, Google it. I'll link like the Wikipedia article about it down below. Basically, it was so unpopular. A good like half the country basically thought they deserved it. So it's pretty unpopular. This was more of like I said, like a young people thing. Anyway. Also, my nail polish is gold, so if it looks weird, that's why. Alright. Each individual like monkey really gets their time to shine in this. They all get this amount of scenes, and they kind of get to like make fun of themselves a bit, and it's fun. There's some parts that are, again, because they show the footage of the guy being shot like I think like 3 times throughout the movie. Like it's pretty rough in that regard. Okay, but throughout the movie, the whole theme, really, because I don't want to call it plotless, because it's not cats. No, it's, we're not talking about cats. That is a abomination sent straight from hell, and we're not doing that. So the whole theme is escape. They want out. Throughout the movie, in different parts, they're basically put back in this black box, okay, which the reference to like it represents like their universe, according to the Wikipedia article, and it says like when they're trapped in it, it's like, this is our world, we can't escape it, that kind of thing. They're able to escape, but then every time they're able to, they quickly get put back in. And it's ridiculous. Throughout the movie, each one of them is like, something's not quite right. Something's off. And it's like reference to like, oh, we'll do all this for you, but oh, you've already signed a contract. You're screwed. You've got no way out of this, kind of deal. And okay. So in order to like get out of this box, there's one of the last times they're put in, Peter believes he has encountered the answer to all of this mess. Okay. So he goes on and on. It's like one of those monologues where I'm sure he makes some decent points, but it's like, you know those people who talk and talk and talk but don't actually say anything? That's kind of what this was, in my opinion. And the rest of them are like ignoring him. And then when they finally start to listen, he's like, I actually know nothing. And they go, Davy Jones goes bat crap crazy. He's like, what do you mean you don't know? I'm not gonna do his accent. He's like, whatever, you don't know anything. And they're able to like break out of the box. And this leads to them eventually getting chased by everyone in the movie. Even like the main like villain, I guess, is played by Victor Mature. The word mature is pronounced mature. So when people say mature, I'm like, I get like, it personally bothers me. No offense intended. But the man's name is mature. He kind of represents the people keeping them down. So like, lawyers and money people and all of that, keeping them in this box, producers, things like that. Because he comes a couple times throughout the film, like he's seen in the background, kind of. Like he's seen in a few scenes, like prevalent, but he's mostly like in the back, kind of like keeping like an eye on them, And so they're running away from all these people, only to end up at the bridge they were at in the beginning. So it all connects back to one another. The way they get there, however, also, this is makeup, don't worry about it, is very confusing. There is a scene where Mickey Dolenz blows up a Coke machine. There is a scene where Davy does a musical number. There is a belly dancing scene. Not the monkey, although that would be hilarious. But no, they are like in the tent and there's belly dancers around them. Their song playing, Can You Dig It, is, I love that song. I love that song too. But no, the monkeys are not belly dancing, but that would be hilarious. And how they get there is, there's a wrestling scene where Davy's getting the crap beat out of him, and the others are telling him, like, stay down. Kind of like a reference to, like, all that work and things like that, how it's like hurting him and things like that. But they eventually do get back to the end, and then they've jumped off this bridge, metaphorically killing that image of them, which is, I mean, like, I know things are not that deep. I am the first person to tell someone else it is really not that deep. But then, like, I look at this and I think that's such a intense, like, metaphor for that. It's like, that kind of just shows me how tired they were of not having that creative control. You know what I mean? But then, like, the very, very end of this movie ends with the monkeys all, like, in this, like, giant, like, fish tank thing on a truck that's being carried away. But the villain's, like, on the back of the truck, like, sitting there, like he's caught them or whatever. And I'm like, and the movie ends. The credits start. And I'm like, what? Like, hold on. I need more chapstick real quick. I'm like, hold up, what? Yeah, it's... So it ends kind of abruptly, which is not what I was expecting. And it ends kind of open-ended, because it's like, okay. So the movie is called Head. And because part of it is they didn't want that association with the monkeys, so they wanted something, like, different. But it is also, like, a thing that is said. I don't know how true this is. I will try to find sources for it. Where it was only called Head because if they made a sequel, that's a big fat if, that tagline could have been, from the people who gave you head, like, they could have that innuendo as their tagline. And I'm like, I mean, that sounds like something like a college age kid would do. But, I'm like, so how would a sequel would have gone? Because how would a sequel happen? Because, I mean, it was obviously a failure, so they wouldn't have been able to do one anyway. But if it had been successful, I've always, like, wondered what it would have been, because it literally ends with them being captured by this main villain. So it's like, do they have to escape from him again? Do they have to, I mean, what more drastic measures could they have done? Because they've metaphorically offed themselves. It's confusing. It makes my head hurt. This movie, high key, seizure warnings, flashing warnings, because the editing, there's a lot of psychedelic stuff, and it will make your head hurt. I think it also takes multiple viewings, because I've seen this movie now 4 times, and every single time I've picked up something else that I missed the previous time. I've watched this by myself and with friends, and like having other friends like on call, whatever, who were able to like, who knew things I didn't know, and then I knew things they didn't know, and were able to help. And like, I'm a history nerd, so like I knew a lot of the stuff behind it already, and it's very interesting. However, excuse me, my big like gripe with the movie, if I had one, which they're never going to see this, but if by happenstance Mickey Dolenz or Mike Nesmith or both of them see this, hi, I'm a big fan. I'm not trying to be mean in any way. I love this movie. It only makes sense in the context of what it is. You really have to know like the monkey story and about them. You really have to know about the current events, or the events that were happening at the time that were current events then, that are now, it's now history now. You really have to know that stuff. So it's kind of like, if you as an average person had never heard of the monkeys, didn't really know their story, then you seeing this would be like, why the heck should I care about this? Like, it's a really weird thing, because there's also references to them personally. There's a little bit of shots taken at them, Davy's seen as like the romantic, lovey-dovey one. Mickey, Peter, there's only 4 of them, Cam, seen as the dummy and that kind of thing. You kind of have to like know the show and things like that, and like know like their personal thing. So it's like, it's a good movie. I highly recommend it, but you kind of have to know your stuff, and it's successful in its own right. It has a cult following. It's very niche. It's there's something I can praise about this. The editing is still very top notch. Now, obviously, there was a remaster released in like 2010, I think. So like, it was 10 years ago, Cameron. So a long time ago, but still like relatively recent in comparison to the movie. The movie's like 51 this year, I think, if I did that math right. Probably not. So it's like, there's the Daddy song scene where Davy's doing the song and dance. Not Daddy song like that, you degenerates. The dance he does, he's doing one, sometimes you see him in a black suit with white trimmings, and then vice versa. Would have had to, and then they had to cut by hand, that going back and forth. By hand, okay? There was no computers to help them out or anything. This was all done by hand, and then Davy Jones would have had to have danced that dance twice, okay, perfectly both times. Otherwise, it would have not worked at all. And that's just so cool to me. And Daddy's song is a great song. The first verse is like, oh, my dad is great. He loved me and my mom. And then the second verse is like, my dad left us. And it's like, oh, okay. Also, fun fact, Mike Nesmith was supposed to do the Daddy song. And you can hear, there's audio of him singing the song. And I'll link that down below too. It's not bad. Mike Nesmith is a great singer. However, Davy kind of has the, well, this isn't, no. It wouldn't be speaking ill of the dead to say this. God rest his soul. Davy had the more effeminacy that Mike doesn't really have. He had the Broadway look because that's kind of his background. That's his background. So it's like, it works that way. But I do like Mike's version of Daddy's Song, and I will link that down below. And there's some, like, the psychedelic stuff. It holds up kind of, but then there's some stuff that's like them like flying through the sky. I'm like, okay, that looks awful. So yeah, some of it holds up, some does not. I still think this is a good movie, worth seeing, and it's a story worth telling. It's like, I'm not gonna say that no one's is not, worth telling. I may not agree with a lot of things John Lennon did and said, but I don't think his story should have been discounted. Like, I enjoyed Nowhere Boy as a movie. So yeah, there's really nothing. Like, this is a movie that has to be seen to be believed, and it's got so much anti-war sentiment and things like that that I think make it a very good cult classic film. And I'm sad it didn't get that exposure, that love. Now, here's the tea, okay? At this time, like, yes, the Beatles were kind of like, not, I mean, they were still pretty popular, but at the same time, it's like, it's not 1963 anymore for them. But the Beatles had already made, Help, Hard Day's Night, and all that. Had the Beatles done Head, it would have been considered classic avant-garde high cinema. Okay? Because they were taken seriously as musicians and actors, even though the Beatles can't act for anything. Okay? I'm just saying it right now. None of them can act. Paul is okay. They cannot act. Okay? Do I enjoy watching A Hard Day's Night and Help? Yes. Can they act? No. But had the Beatles done Head, it would have been a massive success. The Monkees, however, were not taken as seriously due to other things that had happened earlier in their career. It had been, okay, I'm going to say this once and you're going to listen, okay? It is normal when you are playing instruments on TV, when you are singing, when you're filming music videos, you are lip syncing or pantomiming. You have pre-recorded everything, and you are pantomiming on screen because if you played live, sometimes it wouldn't like sound right, and obviously unless it's like a live concert or something with certain things. But like for like a TV show, it's recorded before and then you play to it. Like that was a normal that was a standard thing for every band at this point, and a lot of things on TV at this point, okay? And it had been like exposed that the Monkees don't play their own instruments, which was not in their control because of stupid contracts, and there's a whole other mess of tea about that, which is going in another video. So that was sadly not in their control, and it followed them through so much of their career, which is so sad because yes, they play their own instruments, but they had to follow the studio rules, and it's, again, that's a whole other video about the Monkees and how they got screwed over sometimes, so be on the lookout for that. And that's all I have for you. I hope I can make sense with this and encourage you to watch Head and listen to the Monkees because they're great. I'll see y'all later. Bye!